morning, afternoon, night. This is We Are Not Prepared, and we are your hosts, Byron
and Mark Ivy. Ladies and gentlemen, part two. Welcome back. Hannah's still here. We brought back in Santiago, the producer, because I know that episode of you and I, Mr. Santiago, just hit, but everyone's wanting us back.
Okay.
Everyone's wanting you and your weirdo Audi belly button back. Oh, man, I forgot all my traditions. I'll give you your gift in a second, and I don't have one for you, but okay. I'm going to start giving something away from my office to all my guests.
Okay. Until you have nothing left, and you're just like, here's a picture frame of my family, because here you go. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Okay.
I'm sure this means a lot to you.
Yeah.
So side note, my aunt has a picture hanging in her office, and the picture inside the frame is just a family of strangers that came with the picture frame. Yes. She didn't take it out. She just hung it, and it's these strange people. And every time someone comes to her house, they'll ask, "Oh, whose family is that?" And she's like, "Well, I don't know. Why do you have that?"
They're pretty people.
Yeah. I just like to look at them. Okay.
They're pretty people.
They may not even be a real family. It might just be like, stock photo actors.
Exactly. She likes them, though.
No, my wife came up to my office and for some reason, every time she comes up to my office, because she's not here much, I get like nervous for some reason. I'm like looking around, I'm like, why am I even nervous? Like, what would I have? Like, outside of it being a mess? But that's what she said. There's just like stuff everywhere. But then she's always like, our pictures aren't even like, because with my vision, like the one picture was just facing the wall, and they're like, you're not even looking at us. I was like, my bad. I'll turn those around.
That's amazing.
That's that day we got in a fight.
Honey, I'm not looking very much.
Yeah. I don't do a lot of looking. Well, Santiago, thank you for jumping on. And no, the main reason I wanted you on too is to help with any musical conversation. Geez. But so you went to ACM.
Yes.
And you went to Southern Nazarene, but purely for vocals. What's the difference?
Okay, so I did major in vocal music education for 2 years, and so I did have some classical training.
Yes.
But yes, ACM is a contemporary music school, and so it's more pop, rock focused rather than music.
You were belting out opera though last time.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm classically trained.
Exactly. Yeah, of course, SMU has a music business program, and everybody still has to go through classical training at some point. And so I probably wouldn't have gone the traditional route had I the choice, but I didn't. And so I was classically trained and got a vocal performance degree that way. But every time I did a recital or anything, I would always have an encore to show what I really wanted to do. And so both years, my junior and senior recital, I sang Patsy Cline at the end. So I sang Crazy for my junior recital, and then I sang Walking Back After Midnight for my senior recital.
Which one? Give me a chorus of one of them. Just a little something.
Really?
Of Crazy.
Of Crazy?
Yeah.
Crazy, I'm crazy for feeling so lonely. I'm crazy for feeling so blue.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you.
I love that.
Yeah, you got to get that slide in there. That's the Patsy special.
Man, I get so jealous. Like, even when you were belting out, when you were making loud noises, I was like, golly. How much, if someone can't carry a tune, how far can they go with the right training, coaching?
Do you want to take the answer to that question? Or?
Are you born with it type thing?
Well, I think obviously some people can have more of a propensity towards music.
What did we say about big words?
Sorry.
You were making fun of me? I'm going to hold you to your word.
Some people are naturally better at music than others.
Let's get back into it.
However, I don't agree with the fact that like everyone, a lot of people are just tone deaf and they can't be taught. I think you can, if you want it bad enough, you can at least train yourself to learn how to match pitch. You could take lessons to try to learn that a little better. But I think where it really comes in is like, your tone, the timbre of your voice. I don't think everybody is born with those things. And so even if you knew how to match pitch, you're not going to have the same sound, and people probably aren't going to react to you in the same way.
Yeah. It's basically that.
That checks out.
Yeah.
All right.
I have a whole spiel about talent and how I don't like the term talent, and I don't like how culture overly discusses and over glorifies talent. Talent or aptitude or whatever you want to call it is just where you start in the race, but you have to actually run the race to win the race. So you can start really far from the finish line and just work on it and you'll get there. Have you won the race? Everyone, what race?
I don't know that there's
with subjective,
got their own word.
with
Exactly.
a subjective craft. You win the race when you die. And
you bring us back into funerals.
You can look back on your life and be like, I did some pretty good things there.
For sure.
But no, I mean, I think anyone who thinks that they're tone deaf is probably not. It's actually like a very rare condition. But otherwise, yeah, you just need to spend some time, take some lessons, and get good.
Winning, speaking of like winning a race, like creating something.
Sure.
Like some of the songs you've written and released into the wild that will forever be, unless we get nuclear, unless there's a big bomb. But still, like to me, that's like winning something. Like that's crazy. Just to create. Do you create music or do you write?
I do not write.
Hannah?
So I actually, the worst, that's not true. I hated math more. But the worst part of English for me, which I loved English, was the poetry unit. I absolutely could not stand it. I shouldn't say I can't write poetry, because I feel like, if you try hard enough, you can, but I don't enjoy it. And I really don't enjoy it. So I have no desire to write my own music, which is funny because I went to a worship leader conference a couple of years ago, and this guy got up and he said, "Worship leaders, if you are not writing your own songs for your congregations, you are failing." And I was like, wow, I disagree with you, but way to call me out. I felt like, he knew I wasn't writing my own music for my congregation, but I don't feel bad about it. I don't think everybody is meant to do everything.
Yeah. I see that Santiago and I were talking about that because you write songs and shared some with me, and I enjoy writing nonsense. But for whatever reason, and it's probably because I can't carry a tune, the writing aspect of a song and I, not to regurgitate, but the older I get, the more that just really speaks to me. So I didn't even start listening to lyrics until my late 20s, I feel like.
Interesting.
Like really listening and being like, oh, well, that Third Eye Blind song's a little dark. Sure. And I've been tapping my foot to the wrong beat as well. Oh, okay, let's get into that. Clapping. My wife won't let me clap anymore because I can't clap when I'm supposed to be clapping.
Yeah, well, it's sort of a common joke that white people clap on beats 1 and 3. And that's It just means that you're not feeling the music as well.
But I am in my heart. I so am.
So in the church, we say you're a Nazarene clapper if you clap on 1 and 3. And the Baptists know how to do it right, and we clap on 2 and 4.
Nazarene clapper. Nazarene clapper. Sounds like something you're not allowed to say anymore.
I know, right?
Nazarene clapper.
I say it anyway. Anytime my congregation, I know, anytime they clap on 1 and 3, I say, y'all are acting like Nazarenes and it's upsetting me.
So give me an example of, like when you say they always clap on 1 and 3.
Yeah. So like if you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, you would clap on 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
So how do you know it's the 3/4? Like, what does that even come from?
Are we getting into like music perception, and rhythm, and
for any of those
that,
non-clappers out there? Yeah. I mean, I grew up in the Church of Christ. Maybe that's where it started because we weren't allowed to clap until recent.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Y'all had to sing a cappella. You couldn't do nothing else. Yeah.
But so I'll blame it on them. Thanks a lot.
Basically, blues and jazz kind of is the long history short, sort of, so to speak, for music before then was all emphasis on 1 and 3, and then America and like African American music decided to have a little different feel, and that caught on, and that is the foundation of like our contemporary music. And so it has a little bit more something else.
Who's the king of rock and roll? Hannah, you're first.
I mean, obviously the right answer is Elvis Presley.
Wrong answer.
No, I mean, that's just what they called him.
Yeah.
So you have to say it.
Well, I know you're not going to because you don't answer anything. I'd like you to answer it. Well, what is rock and roll?
Sure.
It's
yeah,
true,
no, that is the.
I don't believe in kings or something.
I'll say Chuck Berry.
Yes. You agree with that, Hannah? Now that you hear it,
I mean, I like him.
Me and my daughter have been getting down to Chuck Berry lately because, like, I don't care how old you like. That's just one of those dudes that you just, like you can't stand still, really.
Yeah, and I mean, there's even more like historical context and stuff. Now, I don't have to get into that, but
I mean,
it's true though.
Yeah,
spread your wings, y'all. This is why you guys are on here. This is serious. Here's how I explain. Like I've gotten to see my brother-in-law who he produces albums and stuff, and I've seen them in creating this using the language you're using, and it's so cool. It's the coolest thing, whether it's a beat, whether it's a hook, whether it's, the writing of what's another word for the, like just on there, like the littlest things. And then it just like, there's nothing more I want to be able to do, but I haven't even outside of just feeling it in my heart. And I don't know if it's because I'm losing vision or whatever, but I know music moves me, but that's all I can understand about it.
Well, it's the universal language though. Yeah. I mean, you don't even have to speak the same language to feel moved by music. And that's why it's so special, is because you can have so many people from different cultures, walks of life, anything like that. And you can relate with music because of music.
What do you like to listen to when you want to be moved? What genre moves you the most?
Well, I mean, for me, because of my faith, that would be, yeah. I mean, Southern gospel I listen to a lot, but that's just because I also like country music. But I like some of the like contemporary stuff too. But I do think there's a point where the contemporary stuff gets like real cheesy. But so can the Southern gospel. You just have to find the people that you like. So I really like the Isaacs. They write all their own music. They're not just Southern gospel. They're like bluegrass, but they're also like folk. They're also like, they don't really fall into any one genre. But I think the music that they write, they always write it from their experiences. And I think it's beautiful. I joke when I travel and sing, and I'm like, if I could sing you a concert of all Isaac's music, I would do it. But I don't ever.
When's the last time you traveled to go sing?
Oh, I was in Stillwater a couple months ago. Sang at a little church there. I usually do like smaller churches.
So when you get there, like, because that's a gig, and I'm not like, I hate acting like me and Hannah are gigging around. I get to tell jokes every now and again. But if it's a new place, the first thing I do is I go, is there someone who works here? I just need to show me the stage. I get there early, you know what I mean? That stuff freaks me out. It's not it's not talking up there. It's finding the microphone or, you know what I mean? I always take my dad. We always joke. He's my roadie. Okay.
And so I usually go with him. Sometimes it'll be my sister or whoever. And I'm also fortunate because I can sit behind the piano the whole time if I want to. So if I want to have like a more intimate concert, I will sit behind the piano the whole time and just play for them as if they were like in my living room. Like you get to see the real me and how I worship every day. And I find too that people respond to that more. So then I don't have to worry about, oh gosh, where am I on the stage? Or, am I going to,
You're going to fall off the stage or something. Yeah.
I've almost done
absolutely. That. I mean, it happens to sighted people too. So like, it's not like.
Yeah. No, I've gotten a gasp from an audience before because my cane, my cane disappeared. Yeah. And I was like, whoa. And I was like, oh my God. It's like, all right, let's get back.
See, but that can be a good bit though.
It can.
If you start playing with it and like, the stage well enough, you can be like, oh, and then, and you just tell people you did it on purpose. Or did you?
Or did I? Keep them on their toes. Hannah, you're going out to the bar. What song are you listening to on the way?
Excuse me? Well, I don't go to bars, but if I were, I would probably listen to, let's see, Friends in Low Places by Garth Brooks.
Okay. Well, you don't go to bars because if you did, you would not want to hear that song ever again.
But that's exactly the point.
It's all they play. And it's just a bunch of bros yelling it at the top of their lungs. And it's like, don't you have homes? Yeah.
And if you're ever going two-stepping, then it's always boot, scoot, and boogie.
Yeah. The boot, scoot, and boogie. Is that good? Heel to toe?
Yeah. I think so. And maybe this can be like a goal for you, Mark, that on top of, pursuing your comedy career, we're going to get you to be able to sing. I
hear the train a-coming.
Yeah.
I do some Johnny.
I think you probably have a really good voice in there, and you're just not confident enough to.
Oh, I'm confident enough to try to get it belt. It's bad confidence because I just love belting out stuff, but I know it's obnoxious, What if you told someone, like, what's the beginner's, like, what's something you would tell someone, hey, if you want to hit a note or stay on tune by doing this when you're singing?
Well, I think a lot of it is you have to train your ears. Like if you don't know, if you feel like you can't hit a note to save your life, then first it's all about ear training. So when you hear a note, like we would always start with like interval training. Mm-hmm. And so you would play a note and then you would play like a major third above that. And then you would be able to have to identify the difference, because you can't hit those notes until you know how to listen for them. And then after that comes all the fun, like vocal technical stuff. Right. So I'd say the next thing is probably like tension in your different muscles and stuff that would keep you from consistently hitting those notes and also producing a decent tone.
Okay. Well, I'll be in your office later.
Oh boy. Yeah. Lauren's going to love that we're going to do interval training.
Yeah. Mark's going to start doing voice lessons at work.
Hey, let's get it.
I mean,
there's another contract.
Yeah. Here in maybe a few months, we'll check back on you and see how your vocal training is going.
Ooh, a little before and after. So what should be the before? What note should I try to? What's a fair thing for me to do right now?
Like, I don't know, pick a song. and then try and learn it. That's honestly the best way to learn. I taught myself guitar, I taught myself bass, and I've been teaching myself drums. And you just pick some songs and you learn how to do them until you're satisfied with them. And then you keep learning more.
So like, we got married in a fever, hotter than a peppered sprout. We've been talking about Jackson ever since the fire went out. I'm going to Jackson. I'm gonna mess around. Yeah, I'm going to Jackson. Look out, Jackson Town.
Honestly, to me, that sounds pretty decent. Like, you know, there's some expansion on tone and decisions or whatever, but like you know the notes. So
you know the notes.
Yeah. Especially for a beginner. Yeah.
Well, come on, Kens. What do you think? You want to be my June at some point?
All right, let's do it.
my daughter loves. She's like, Dad, you got any June Carter Cash? She loves that. Like, I walked into a honky tonk just the other day. Stuck a nickel in the jukebox just to hear it play. Yeah, but she goes the other day. What else before we get out of here? Hannah, what do you think about just podcasting? I was telling people, Cynthia, you are like, you're a great podcaster. You just come in, you're immediately just, you know, you're in. Kenzie, what Byron said too, you feel comfortable. And even that workshop, I don't know, you're kind of like a little, you're hanging out, but you're always paying attention. You always got something, believe it or not, funny to say. And I always love it about you, but
thanks.
This has been fun. What do you want your podcast to be about, you think? Have you thought about it?
So years ago, I thought about starting a blog, and I would have titled the blog My Life and Other Misadventures.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you know, maybe putting that in podcast format instead and just talking about all the shenanigans I've gotten myself into over the years or that other people have gotten me into, like, and how those turned out.
Does one stick out?
Does one, I mean, a bunch stick out. I've just had so many crazy experiences, you know, some of them just because of my blindness and
of course,
you know, how things have turned out there. I mean, I think about this one where a Chinese woman who couldn't speak any English thought I needed help when I was trying to walk home one day. It was terrifying.
She just kept yelling at you.
She kept asking me where my car was, just so she would go, sorry, this is so politically incorrect, but she would go, where your car? Where your car? And I was like, ma'am, I don't have a car.
Man, speaking of, again, I'm not going to do the voice, Hannah, because I've learned my lesson. But when I was at UCO and they transformed my little 12-unit apartment into a foreign exchange living for UCO, but they let me stay because I was the only student there. And I was just like, guys, I can be anywhere on campus I need to be. My haircut place is right. Like, please don't make me leave. And so they're like, as long as you're good with, you know, I was like, of course. And so the first round of students were Chinese. And it's when we had a bad tornado. It was like it was actually right before that really big one in 2014, I think. And it messed up OU Medical a little bit, came real close. It was my first experience in Oklahoma City, because I'm from Tulsa, where I was like, this is different. Like, it sounded like someone was whipping we were in a shelter. So I'll wrap it up. So I run down and I know there's a shelter in the back, a real big one. And there's like 5 students. I was like, we can definitely all fit. I'm like, all right, it's going off. They are freaking out.
Yeah.
They are freaking out. And they all are yelling. Now I got to do the voice. Library! So like I knew that they were told if you got to run the library, but I was just told by the newscaster, get down now. And I knew that's a 10-minute hike. And I was just like, sure. I was like, God, you got to go. And we couldn't communicate. Mm-hmm. And I was just wanting them to almost like grab them and be like, just look at what I'm pointing, but they just went out the door and me and my dog were like, maybe goodbye forever. But they came back.
Well, that's good.
They came back. And then every Saturday for a little bit, they would Yeah, I'd be like, we're all good.
It's okay.
It's all
this
good.
This is normal.
But yeah. What else, guys? Anything?
I think this is fun.
So fun. Well, for Hannah Kinsey on part 2, Santiago again, thank you, sir. I'm Mark Ivy. This has been We Are Not Prepared.